Yo, what's going on? It's Liam here, and we're here with the Premier League predictions for this year. Game week 1 would have just gone ahead, so the scores are in, but we're not going to pay too much attention to that. We're just going to go through and rank the teams based on where I think they're going to end up. We start with Sunderland, who have European football this year, have made a few good signings, but with the extra games in place, I don't think they're going to quite struggle as much as people think they are, but they're going to be in these don't care places. For me, this is just outside of Europe, so I can move them about later as I go along, but for now we'll just leave them there and reorder them. I reckon they're about 10th, 11th this year, just because I think there's just that many teams that are behind them. I'm actually going to skip past Arsenal for now and come back to them. Villa are in dangerous trouble this year with the extra football and losing how many players they have lost. They've lost Rodgers, Konsa, and Tielemans. So they've lost kind of you're looking at really a spine, and they've lost Emi Martinez. So that is like the core straight down. And I know they've still got club captain like McGinn and stuff like that. I just don't think they've replaced the players well enough. And again, they've got European football. Again, in this don't care range, they're going to really underperform this year, and I could honestly see them slipping into squeaky bum time. But again, there's a few people I think are just going to be worse. Bournemouth this year, European places. I kind of like the way they play, and they've replaced the manager with someone with like similar ideals in terms of how they want to play. And they might just have that first season just over and where it takes them over where the rest of the players and people in the league are. Similar story to Brentford. Brentford fighting for Europe, but could end up in these don't care places. A 10th or 9th place finish. I'm really undecided with those. For now, I'm going to put them here. Brighton, about as don't care. There's a lot of people going in this category. As much as don't care as you can get, because how inconsistent they are. Their ability to be so consistently inconsistent is ridiculous. And they've lost Baleba, they've lost Van Hecker, who, I mean, they've replaced them quite well. And they always seem to make these underrated signings that go well. They've got Vuskovic, who I think when you're looking at them going both ways, it doesn't make sense from Tottenham's perspective. I know they'll gain someone with Prem experience and like a decent defender, but Vuskovic was Hamburg's player of the season, I think it was last season, and he was great. I know Bundesliga, weak league over the past couple of seasons, especially when you translate into the Premier League, but a bit of a steal at a not bad price. Chelsea, I'm going to put them in the European places. Honestly, see them, depending on how City are, going third. They just make a crap ton of signings. They chuck things at a wall. But they've got a good manager in Alonso, so interesting to see how that ends up. But it could go either way with the amount of injuries that Chelsea can get. It depends if Reece James stays fit. It depends if their defence is solid. If they can sort the defence, I know they brought in Lacroix, whatever you say, Maxime Lacroix. There we go. But again, the players around him, are they good enough? Is he going to start Colwell? Is he going to play another last Cucurella? Are they going to play James at CDM? They're going to play him right back. He's going to be on the right side of a back three. I haven't really been paying attention enough to their preseason to see where they're going to end up, but they're arguably going to be top 4. I think that's relatively safe to say. With Coventry, they finished first, and they should probably be in squeaky bum time. But we all saw the game against Arsenal. They looked really out of their depth, and it was hard to start against the champions. But they were comfortably out of the race from the second that whistle blew. And it's not like they played bad. They just didn't look up to the part of the league. So for that, they're going to be the first team in the relegation zone. Crystal Palace. Again, I'm not a big fan of the signings they made. I'm not a big fan of the business. I'm not, and the players that let go. I don't think the Mateta wants to be there. Sean Larson isn't good enough to lead the line, and neither is Nketiah. They have got Dwight McNeil, which is a threat from the sides if you're looking at crossing. But again, is Jan Larson going to be your main striker? Is Mateta? Because same thing about Wharton. I know people aren't going to go in for him, but I think there are a few players that, like, if they go down, they're guaranteed going to leave. So they're kind of looking with an exit strategy in mind, plus new manager. So we'll see. Everton, I'm going to put European places. I'm really going to think they're going to sneak that last European place. So Conference League isn't bad for them. I like David Moyes. I like the team that they got built around him. And when you look at the teams left, I don't think there's too many that are going to challenge them realistically. Because Fulham are my team to get relegated. I do think one of these two, whether it's Hull or Ipswich, is going to stay up. So, again, Fulham, aging squad, brought in a new manager, which I'm not too sure about in Arbeloa. And I'm not too convinced in the signings either. I think they were paid for the players from Real Madrid. I know Gonzalo he can be good, but I just don't think that he has the supporting cast around him. And I don't think he's really at the level where you can put your faith in him. And who you got besides that? Muniz. I'm not overly convinced by that team. Hull City, are they better than Ipswich? They're kind of the ones where it's like you show the passion, so you kind of want them to stay. You remember the Phil Brown days, so you like Prime Barkley, so you want them to be in the squeaky bum time. Do I see it happening? I'm between the two, whether it's Ipswich or Hull. They're both the business to me. That I'm like, I can see one of you staying up. These two are like very interchangeable. So it's like, I reckon it is going to be one of them like that. For now, I think I have Hull just over it because the experience of players like McBurney, and you've got, I know he's been out of the league for like ages, but you got someone who's been around a successful dressing room, like Paddy McNair, not necessarily for himself, but the players that he had around him when he was coming through United, and that they seem like they're not over with their business. Whereas I think Ipswich should, towards the end, if they can get Palacios, which, again, you're looking at Bundesliga signing, so Leeds, as much as say they're still a season away, so they're going to be in this don't care range. Where they finish in this don't care range is probably on the upper this side, like depending on a few teams. It could really be like this, or it could be like that. I think these two don't really move from this position. They're on the bottom end of it. Liverpool didn't look convincing today. They left it late to get the equaliser against Newcastle. Newcastle looking better than I expected them to. But it's a very open-ended game, the way that they play. I think teams are going to have to change because you saw it with City today. You saw it with Liverpool. You saw it with Newcastle. They're very counter-attacking. No, sorry. It's just end-to-end. It's very counter-attacking. They leave like 2-3 men at the back where it's just like, you're going to concede if things don't change. So depending on how their defence do, it's European places. Champions League or Europa League, yet to see. Depends how well Isak can lead the line, because that's his spot for now. And whether they can get Barcola and Minte in, because they need an elite winger, because you've got no goals from Salah now. You've got no assists from Salah. It is where he's going to like plug up that gap, because I don't think you're going to get that from Gakpo necessarily, as good as he is. So you just need someone else. I'm going to fix these work because I do think it's more like that. But City under Maresca, I'm not convinced by the project. I'm not convinced at all. I don't think he's that good of a manager. I don't think he should have got the job. I think it's one of those merit ones, and he's going to be more like a David Moyes, where I don't think he lasts 2 seasons. And for that reason, I have him there. And again, not convinced by Michael Carrick and his signings. Baleba adds a bit more dimension and dynamism into that midfield. And Tielemans looks like a good sign if he can be paired with the right people. But also, why do you do that if you have Manu, who arguably can do the same job if you want to take some of that load off Bruno? I don't think he's an elite striker in front of him, so again, Bruno's having to do the job of making Cunha and Mbeumo look better than they have been. And I think Šeško, again, isn't someone that you're going to put faith into to get you the goals that are going to put you in the sort of second place, challenging with Arsenal or Chelsea this year. I don't think it's City. I think City finish. I think it is. That's your top four right there. I'm going to come back to Arsenal because this is biased, but I think we have the chance. It's like the perfect storm to do the double. When you've got Pep gone, you don't know what Alonso's going to be, so it's a bit of a wild card. And I just don't see United being good enough to challenge. There is, I think, 2 years away, realistically. I don't think Lammers necessarily is a good enough starting goalkeeper to win you a league. Their back line can't stay healthy enough to win you a league between Luke Shaw, Maguire's inconsistency, Martinez gets injured a lot, Aiden Haven still too young. The midfield is all over the place, so this is kind of your top 3 for whether it's this way around, sort of this way around. I do see a version of it where it's this. So they've created a perfect storm, and Solis looks good. William Saliba doesn't look like it's going to be that big of a miss. We'll see next week, because I think it's Villa next week. So again, if Villa plays bad as they did against Brighton this week, easy game. But we don't think we're going to have 2 games like that in a row. So they did start slow last season, so you never know. But I do have it that Arsenal are going to win. And Newcastle going to take up again. I don't care spot. Tottenham going to be awful. Not convinced by the signings, and you saw how they were against Brentford. So they again were like Brighton. You could basically do this. Kings of inconsistency. But 17th, 16th in the last 2 seasons. And they just spent a load of money. Deserby's a wild card because you don't know what you're going to get. You see what he's done at Marseille. I think he's kind of the king of just making chaos. And sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't. But for now, I don't think it is. And you've got Forest, who again could be like that. Again, not convinced by the signs they've made. They've lost Elliot Anderson, who was a big part of that midfield. And to be fair, I'm just not overly convinced by the manager either. So this is how I have them going. I think that's exactly how I want to leave it. So your champions are Arsenal, making up the rest of Europe. The Champions League, you got Chelsea, City, United. Your Europa League, you got Liverpool and Bournemouth. Sorry. No, Conference League. And you got Everton. Go there. There we go. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7. Yeah. I'm happy with that. Just to confirm that I'm actually not being a dunce, and it is a top 6 over a top 8. Just going to bring up the table before I make an absolute blunder. I'm going to cut this out so you don't know how bad it is. Cool. Yeah. So we're going for the top. Arsenal, your champions, going back to back. Arteta can pull it through, so that's who I'm going with. Chelsea second, City third, and United rounding off the 4th spot, just ahead of Liverpool. And then you got Bournemouth and Everton going for Europe, with Everton getting Conference League, Bournemouth in the Europa League. In you don't care spaces, 8th we've got Newcastle, 9th Brentford, 10th Leeds, 11th Brighton, and then you're rounding out the rest of the don't care spots with Sunderland and Villa. Tottenham at the top of that squeaky bum time. I don't think they're going to get dragged into a relegation battle the same way they did for the past 2 seasons, but I also just don't think they have what it takes over the course of a season to actually challenge and be around those European places. I think they have points where they do look like they can do, maybe around Christmas, but they'll ultimately fall off again, and then they'll be like, ooh, Spurs are in trouble again. But at that point, it's too late. You've already got one of these 3 that are going to be dead on for relegation, and then the other 2 will battle it out until the last couple of weeks. Again, you can see Crystal Palace dropping there, and you'll see Hull definitely drop it around there. There'll even be points where Fulham do this, but ultimately, I just don't think they have enough in them. I don't know who's going to finish bottom. These 3 are again, pretty interchangeable. I just don't think Coventry have it like the rest of them. It depends if the players like Sheriffs turn up. I don't know about Rushworth, didn't look convincing in the first game. You got Hamer back. Brandon Thomas Asante's come straight through the Football League. Do I think he's good enough to start for a team that stays up? Probably not. You've lost Hadji Wright. I don't think Sim gets you enough goals. So there's a lot of moving parts that could see whether these teams stay up or not. But that's the way I have it. So if you liked, subscribe, stick around, and like the video because I could use the help on the channel because it's pretty dead at the moment. Peace.